Namaste. Hello, everybody. It's me, Hank. Or as I now call myself, Yogi Hanky Panky. Look at me. Look at me. I'm the picture of health. Check me out. Take it all in. I just lengthened my spine. Been doing a lot of spine lengthening these days. Head over heart, heart over heels, or hips, or something like that. I don't know. You know what? When you do YouTube yoga, you know what you can't see? The fucking screen, because your head's pointing down at your dirty carpet while you're slobbing yourself into the world's ugliest pretzels. They say yoga people turn into pretzels. I'm more just like a ball of horrifying pretzel wannabe. I don't have I'm trying. I'm doing good. Wow. Okay. I feel like I had a decent start there, but then it fell off real fast. Yeah. So, project, welcome back, everybody. Hank Thompson here. We're doing a show, patreon.com/winners and losers. As always, a huge note of gratitude to the folks who are supporting me, who I am completely misleading and disappointing, because I said I would put this back end screen on there, but I only have like 2 people, and I feel like I need to have a goal before I start that up. But so if you feel like I'm ripping you off, please let me know. Although honestly, if that's why you're giving me money, then I mean, I hope you're helping me out, because I need a ton of help. Not because of that, but I do feel like I should honor it anyway. Patreon.com/winners and losers. Give me a try. I putting all the clips up on YouTube. Doing this thing is hours, at least. I don't know. Each clip, I don't know, a lot of hours. Takes a ton of time. So if you can support, we're building towards something that I think everybody's going to be excited to talk about and to get into and stuff. So yeah, I'm trying to navigate these energy rapids that my brain struggles with. Last week was a bit of a challenge. I actually got a small editing job, and even though I'm very confident that this is a very good job, like a good let's not say job, gig, it's going to end. It's just a couple of videos for a little shoot that I helped out with. But it's a very good fit for me and for the kind of work that I'm capable of and stuff. But I had total autistic spin outs the entire week, waiting, mostly related to the communication and stuff, and none of it really grounded in actual reality, but just grounded in my brain's ability to produce possibilities, and to dwell, and to catastrophize, and to overthink, and to spiral away. It's like a fractal fireworks show going on in my fucking head, and it's exhausting. And then finally I got some communication that I was trying to get to. This kind of thing is very easily accommodated. I need to really learn how to just be really straightforward with people who are going to hire me, to be like, listen, I'm just going to need to tell you this straight up. If I need to talk on the phone at sometimes, because especially with video editing. So here I go. I was going to brag about all the yoga I've been doing. I have been keeping it up, not every day. Then I'll get back to now I'm into 2 topics that are, but yeah, feeling better, working better. But I've skipped enough days of yoga to realize how like the /meditation/ stay off Twitter in bed and shit like that, how absolutely critical it is for me. I just have to accept that my lot in life is I have some strict rules about my start of the day, in terms of like setting my head forward on a right, it's like a top that spins and then it falls over, and then every day I wake up and it spins up. But I can control if it's going to spin in a way that contributes to me and empowers my ability to get through the day and do all the things I hit, because I hit energy pits constantly. That's like a huge problem for me. Or if I don't, I can tell that the ADHD / hyper obsessive thinking stuff just kind of runs rampant. And it was really going hard this week with this little editing gig. So irritating. And I could feel the warmth. I could feel my head like cooking. I can feel that like the oven is just on or something. Or there's better metaphors. So the particles are just fizzing all over the place. Even though it's a job and a thing I'm doing that I'm being fairly compensated for, and I'm like very good at. It's like a kind of multi-camera editing. I've done a shit ton of stand-up editing and all kinds of stuff. So it's I think with a better foundation of stress and a better foundation of like living a life that I am excited to be awake for, doing things that are meaningful, all the other reasons, the sort of actual self-actualization stuff we all strive for, not just me. More of a foundation there will probably help a lot of that that kind of thing come down, because everything feels very high stakes right now, and that's that can add to the pressures and stuff. So yeah, really grateful for the work, but it's not going to be, it's only a day or two more, so it's not going to let me climb out of the pit. But I did splurge on some mushrooms. I bought mushrooms for my Cobb salad. Been a Cobb salad guy lately. I wonder, I would like to date again and cook for somebody, and I think I would cook Cobb salad. I think I'm like, yeah, we'll go to get some Cobb salad. You want blue cheese or blue cheese dressing? Let me know. We'll hook it up. All right. Then when we make out, our breath smells the same. That's just a good thing. Oh, speaking of breath, we got some great stories talking about Donald Trump planted his wife in the ground, and oh boy, have we got results. The grass has never been more full. No, there's been some reporting on how he's let his ex-wife's grave, get completely overrun with grass. It's not being cared for at all. And there's also even some speculation that there's been some wee happening around on the grass, which is, come on, how can we not talk about that? Devastating fire. I'm not going to get into the I have bookmarked a bunch of stuff. Those fires in Hawaii are horrifying, to have to escape your town from the, climate change fueled intensities of these events, where everything, even though not all fire is directly caused, because we've been pumping as much carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere as fast as we can at the behest of profit seekers that have been dead for 70 years. But summers are longer, dry seasons are longer, weather patterns are becoming less predictable. There's more water, there's more energy. We're just sitting in a greenhouse. We're just making the glass a little bit more opaque every year, so more warmth stays. When before, with certain levels of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases, the greenhouse glass lets it out. Heat comes in, some of it stays, but a lot of it gets radiated out to the atmosphere, and we're not doing that, which means increased vibration of molecules and atoms, which means that things are more intense and more and more drastic, and it upends systems that were in place that were fairly stable. Human beings are actually, like, our civilizational era here, the last like 10,000 years is on a fairly not, I guess I wouldn't say it's rare, but like the way the Earth can kind of cycle through major changes in climate takes a long time on our scale. On geologic scales, it can happen fairly quickly, on the order of 5 to 10 or 20,000 years. But we've been in, we just happen to have been in a sort of even, kind of a very even sort of range, with all projections showing that it would probably stay roughly like this for around another 40 or 50,000 years. But then industrialization comes along, and polluting as hard as we can, because it makes more money to not price pollution, instead of treating pollution like the scourge it is on the planet, and then forming our modes of operating, our modes of consumption, our modes of production. My fucking ears just went out. God damn it. I can't hear. Now it's only in one ear. It's so annoying. Instead of forming our modes of production and consumption around harmonizing with the planet in order to sustain the habitability of the one beautiful, gorgeous, amazing, perfectly tuned planet for our bodies and our species to survive, we are altering it. It's an astronomical event. We're changing the atmosphere to a degree that it will, it could happen much faster, but within 100 or 2 or 3 or 400 years, that might get tampered down, because there'll be major population die-offs, which will probably reduce things fairly quickly, depending on how these wars come about, or what scale of nuclear exchanges end up happening. But we can guarantee that records will continue to be broken. The energy is going to continue to go up and up and up and up. And we have not been doing any of the kinds of preparation or investing in our communities, in our building design, in our city design. People talk about, get the gas prices down, get everything. We gotta, because like it's such a sickness that we're just so addicted to our fucking cars. We have to be able to travel, to go places, to pick up shit, go to work, and all this stuff. But there's ways of reducing all that include not just pumping out more oil, pumping out more gas, by, for instance, walkable cities, for mass transit, improving energy efficiency of all of our buildings to decrease energy expenditures and waste. There's so much waste in the way, in the insulation and all the other stuff. That would be a massive jobs program too. I gotta fix my fucking headphones. It's killing my thoughts here. Hold on. Okay, I think I can. Yes, it's in both ears now. That's better. Although it's still gonna mess up because yeah, I can just tell. I had to pull it out slightly, and it's always a sign that it's not gonna hold. Whatever. Yeah. So I was just talking about reducing our dependence on greenhouse producing fuels and stuff, and reducing consumption overall, and developing a culture where we recycle materials, and we would build out library socialism principles and things like that, where we don't necessarily all have to own individually purchased drills. It's always like the example, like what percentage of time do you use the drill that's sitting in your closet, when we could have systems where people get to share resources and share stuff. Yeah, but when people hear about that stuff, they think immediately like, oh, you're just going to take away our drills and put it all and put some of them in. It's like, no, we build a whole culture around the notion that we can make smarter choices about how we use things. And then you can have access to like experts and to people who are I could picture my life being in a whole different scenario where I help repair people's furniture, or I help recycle old furniture into different items or different products. That's sort of the foundation of Bumrush Industries, the business I tried to start, where I would gather up furniture from the streets and turn them into shit stools for people who take poops, like yourself. I still want to follow through on that someday. That's kind of a dream goal of mine. Not just shit stools, though. I think I could do urine towers and masturbation pogo sticks. You know, fun stuff. But yeah, we're everything. Almost everything that's happens is. That's a stupid way to start a sentence. But so much of the way we are conditioned to understand consumption and ownership of things relates to a society that wants you to give as much money to wealthy people. So the whole fucking thing is made so that people who don't need money get more money. Which is why healthcare is partially so among the reasons it's so stressful. I'm clearly very stressed out about money, because not having money is incredibly stressful, horrible. For all the reasons everybody understands. But it's just madness to me that when someone gets injured, that's a good day for a stranger who doesn't need money. Some investor, some owner, some CEO class person, some executive class person. You know, you get hit by a overly aggressive Ninja Turtle pretending to be a human, you know, because they have a small scooter that is a fake pizza delivery business. And suddenly your toes are broken and you've been cowabunga'd into severe injury and you need professional help. Well, guess what? Someone who's got nothing to do with medicine, never going to help you, never going to lift a finger to help you, they're going to make some money. It's just so weird. It's just because you're going to then be desperate and have to give up a whole bunch of money that you don't need. Doctors should be prescribing money. Oh, I'm here for all my stress. Oh God. Okay. Well, here, okay. Give me $700 and go buy these drugs and take them. Like, as opposed to, okay, well, I want to prescribe you with $4,000 a month, so you don't have to feel all that stress. Oh my God, you solved it! Holy shit, healthcare works. That's an oversimplification of the world I would build. But why aren't we prescribing money? It's a technology we're misusing. Let's just summarize it that way. Yeah, so I don't know what the hell I was saying. I'm doing yoga and I'm feeling better. It's been hard on my hands. I have to use my fists, and that sucks. And I think I have extraordinarily long leg bones too, because I like to do the ones where my knee, one leg goes up and one leg goes back, and I do this, and then I do that, and I do that. And I'm trying to breathe, and I'm trying to be mindful of my spine, right? That's how we started. We're spine stretchers these days. Not like crazy about it, but you know, alignment, we like to say, us yogis, yogi hanky pankies, we all like to say that. And I've started a yoga school. I'm now a yoga teacher. So yeah, if you want to get injured within a few minutes, come to my yoga class. Yeah, so there you go. That's okay. That's the opening ramble. I was maybe going to get into more depressing shit, but we can, there's always going to be more time for depressing shit later. Okay. All right. Patreon.com/winners and losers. Let's build those, socialist recycling businesses where we turn furniture into stuff and fix and develop, like, just one final, another part of that is building, incentivizing the lack of obsolescence, incentivizing repair and durability and high quality products and high quality things. You can find high quality stuff out in the world, but so much shit is just designed to just be pumped out so that it doesn't, because it's not as profitable to sell someone once every 20 years and then have it be fixed and repaired and stuff like that. So, yeah, we're in a deep shit though. The cultural, honestly, the technological solutions, not that it's all going to happen easily, are, I think, though, within our reach. And I'm not even talking about carbon capture, other than like sort of rewilding significant tracts of land and allowing savannas and forests to return to natural wild states, which is an incredibly good way to store carbon. But I'm not. That would be wonderful. I'm not talking about like carbon capture, although I think we might have to rely on innovations and technologies. But the problem is that we don't have the cultural or moral framework to change quick enough. And so we're just going to do this the hard way. We're just going to be led off the cliff by the psychos. And, the rich people getting more money. People who don't need money. In 2023, the top, I don't know if it was 500 or I think it might have been 80, but the top 80 billionaires have added $852 billion to their wealth, to their total pile, to their coconut harvest. If we're all an island, these 1%, these top 0.01 percenters, whatever that is, have mountains of coconuts that the rest of us scramble around to produce for them. And they put their $852 billion worth of coconuts on top of their other gigantic piles of coconuts. During a time in which people can't afford to live, they've made being alive expensive. And they made money hard to access. And so the only way to get money is to satisfy the craven wants, well, not even needs, the craven wants of the people who already have more than enough. And it's horrible design. It's just stupid, straight up. But we have these emotional connections to the narrative of ownership, of having, I already have mine and you don't get, and if you want access to this, you have to, I get to gatekeep human needs. And I get to charge people exorbitant rates for extracting wealth from people and go work. You have to work. Instead of work connecting to us building out communities or even the concept of work itself. One of the arguments, God, I got to get to these stories. I'm going to address the corn dogs. I had a listener question come in. I've got the finest listeners in the game, so I wasn't surprised to see such a great question. So we're going to talk about that first before we get to the stories. But yeah, okay, I just forgot what I was going to say. Fuck. God damn it. It's gone. Damn it. I need some Adderall. I really think ADHD is causing a lot of shit in my life. Honestly, I think because I can imagine what it would be like to not have it, to not just be completely distracted and utterly befuddled and all the, not that those are the two ways it manifests, but yeah. Okay. I've read about people who then get on like the proper dosage of medication and then they realize like, oh my God, I have is this what regular people feel like? Regulars. That's a internal ableizing word. Sorry about that. Yeah. All right. So let's get to the question. I did have some comment about the super richy assholes building out their money. Oh, nope. Not going to do it because it's going to get into survival bunkers and that whole thought. And I'll save that for another day. So let's switch over to the browser here. Yes. Okay. On YouTube, Monkeysmo, like I said, one of the finest listener and YouTube commenters of all time, wrote your comments about hot dogs are spot on. Thank you, Monkeysmo. But how do you feel about corn dogs? Well, Monkeysmo, I have a lot of positive feelings. As I said, I love them. I would eat a corn dog every day for the rest of my life if I could get away with it. I haven't had one in, honestly, it's probably been over 10 years. It's been a while. For those that don't know, a corn dog is a regular hot dog that had sex with an ear of corn. And it results in a hot dog covered in a sleeve, not unlike the parrotfish of the reef community. Look them up. Look up parrotfish sleeping mucus. Sleeping mucus. Wow, I don't know why that caught me there. That's okay. Parrotfish sleeping mucus. They form a protective layer of disgusting ooze And then they sleep, and anything that tries to get into their mess with them while they sleep, they like basically make a sleeping blanket out of snot. And so corn dog is basically one of those, but it's a hot dog covered in cornmeal and then deep fried. I've enjoyed plenty of corn dogs over my days. I'm not going to get back to eating corn dogs anytime soon, although maybe I could do cauliflower corn dogs. Cauliflower is just like every other. No, I'm joking around. I'm not one of those guys. I would eat one of those actually, because it would taste like ketchup, like my favorite flavor. So yeah, I love a dip. I love a corn dog. I like that it's on a stick. They take forever to eat if you don't chew. If you treat them like an ice popsicle thing, licking through that takes a long time. So don't recommend that. They're not really, corn dogs. I know there's a lot of variants, at these like state fairs and stuff where someone just decides to put something else in it or, whatever. That's fun. I can see why that might be all right. But you don't really they always just kind of come with nothing on them, generally. Unlike a hot dog, which itself is sort of in a container that holds condiments, which is why you can kind of load it up with stuff. So they're really more of a dipping thing because they're on a stick. A weird thing about that, I have a texture sensitivity thing, although I imagine a lot of people can relate, but like eating I'm getting sorry, I'm just thinking about it. A popsicle, the wooden stick in the popsicle. And I'm a woodworker. I got all my woodworking shit. I love to show off my mallet. I want to sell these to Patreon people eventually. These are fucking rad. You should buy one. They'd be very expensive because it'll take me fucking hours and it'll probably cause further injury to my arms. But anyway, let me know. It's called balance, motherfucker. It's just sitting on the face. Popsicles have that wooden inner, and corn dogs have that wooden stick. And I have to do everything I can to not lick it. Like I want to because I have a sick, but I don't lick it. If you lick the wood, you see it happening. That's the kind of downside. So as you attempt fate with this meat tube covered in corn, a sleeve of corn, you risk touching that stick with your tongue. And that's usually been, so I've always very careful to just get it down to the end. But then I have this obsessive kind of, I want to finish every bit. And there's always that little sort of, what are they called? Like the part of the flour that's under the flour, the little, sorry. I don't have, I'm supposed to go get a job with these hands. That's good. That's fun. I really got to find a way to work without using my hands. God. Doing radio, I would like some fucking radio show. Hire me as a sidekick. I'll just come on. I'll be funnier than the host, and I'll make a lot of money, and we'll sell a lot of coffee or whatever the fuck sponsors it, and I won't have to use my hands. How's that? Sound good? That's like my dream. Yeah. I'll weigh in on your alcoholism for all the other hosts that are on there. We'll be buddies. So the bottom of the thing underneath, try not to use there's the stick, and then you get that little crunchy bit because it gets cooked more. It's not on the outside of the hot dog. It's just the sort of part of the dip. And I always love trying to bite those off. Get a little bite on those. There's something very satisfying about peeling those off. It's almost like eating a scab. Why did they say that? Yeah. So that's my take on corn dogs. What do you think? Did I answer your question? I almost call it a fucking question. Ask me more. I actually think it'd be fun to answer questions. I think I'm better reacting to stuff than I am like preparing shit. I think that's kind of where one of my skills lies. Yeah. So what else is there to say about corn dogs? That's about it. It's a silly. Here's a thought. It's a silly ritual I've noticed. The Iowa state for the Iowa kind of campaigning mode, where we make the whitest fucking state in our country. I'm not sure if that's actually true, but the center country or center state here, that might not even be true either. But how the prominence we allow Iowa culture and politics to play in our political system, especially presidential campaigns, and every candidate has to tour the state and go to all the counties and make this big fuss because it's so important that they score that big win. Although I'm not sure, I know that they might have made some changes about which state goes first. If we're going to do the stupid primary system, it should just rotate. Just have some system. Every 4 years is a different 25% of the states go first or whatever the fuck it is, just rotate it. It's not that it's an easy thing to fix. Or do random draw even. But so yeah, politicians all have to go through a ritual of pretending to eat corn dogs and enjoying them. And some of them might be not faking it. So yeah, that's all silly though. It's all just that ridiculous cultural bullshit. I do want to gather up a bunch of Ron DeSantis videos and sort of just do like reactions to those because he is such a weirdo. Everything. Sometimes I see people, I think, hitting on it too hard. I mean, like I don't necessarily even agree with all the overreaction to it, but there's times too where you're just like, how's this person human? And he's a torturer. He was part of the Guantanamo Bay torturing squad, so he's a very deranged and dangerous person. It's a horror. It's a horror that he's one of them. All right, so let's get to the stories here. Listen to this. Listen to this. Donald Trump, the lover of humanity, the savior, better than Jesus, as we all like to say. There's been some stories in the news about evangelicals and Christians on the right-wing side of that, which is the majority, I think, kind of realizing that Jesus is weak because he's kind of a progressive cuck. That's my words, not theirs. But it doesn't reflect, like the teachings of Jesus aren't really reflective of the way they feel, the way they act. It would be wonderful if our Christians lived according to what their founders, what their prophet indicates, at least as far as I understand it. It'd be better than what we got, I would say. But they instead worship these total goofballs like Donald Trump here. So he married Ivana Trump. They had 3 beautiful babies. Eric Jr., Don Jr., and Ivanka Jr. Okay? The kind of children you would slaughter an entire village for. The most perfect people to exist. 2 of them went to the Wharton School of Business too, by the way. Did you know that? No? Tell your next date. Tell your date. You'll get laid. So here is our old pal Kenny Klippenstein, Twitter star, just an absolute god, typed out LMAO and linked to these photos here. We're going to a bunch of stuff here. We're actually going to fly into the Google Maps a little bit and take a look at some stuff. Exclusive Daily Mail. Ivana Trump's cordoned off grave is barely visible in completely overgrown area of Trump's 506-acre Bedminster, New Jersey golf course. Oh my God. So this is his ex-wife. I found it so weird that she's buried on his property. Like who was in charge of where she would be buried? Generally, you wouldn't want to put your corpse into your ex-husband. I mean, and these super wealthy freaks like these people are all going to have more complicated nuptials, I guess. But how it ended up that Trump had some say in where she was buried is very weird. I mean, I suppose it's plausible. There's a world here. Let's look at the next picture. So there's her grave. Now I want you to look closely at this. Look at this. There's her marker. This little gray bit. Very thick, very overgrown. But we're going to get back to this here. On this tweet, though, Kenny Clips did a TikTok. Go follow him on TikTok, everybody. Allie Maynard, she's a good tweeter. The very obvious piss burns in the grass is sending me, she writes. So you might not have noticed that. And these are usually roughly 6 feet, 6, 7, 8 feet, right? They dig a hole roughly, generally over 6 feet probably, because it's got to be wider than the box. Oh man, I saw my uncle's grave. I helped carry the casket, and it was such beautiful wood. What a fucking shame. Anyway, there's these brown dead spots, bright, kind of light yellow, brown dead grass. You've all seen dead grass. Go pee on your grass. And these, I mean, it's obviously speculative, but if you were to urinate, I've urinated outside plenty of times, not as many as some, and more than others. This is about what it would get. You get a good, decent first haul that would launch it if you don't move around. So I've got experience with urine. Actually, I went once to see a appearance in Chicago of the Virgin Mary showed up on this like underpass. So it was sort of this salt stain shape. And it really had this kind of parabolic kind of thing, kind of like a ghost shape, sort of, which is exactly the shape you'd get if you peed on a wall. It would splatter and then be like basically that. It just looked like liquid salt somehow had leaked through the concrete, and everybody was standing around praying for it. And I was like, geez, these fucking just religion stuff. Wow. Back to the story. This looks like someone pissed. if I were betting, you got a nice good long launch. You know, maybe not everybody can get that first go, especially as you age, and then it would trickle up and sort of build up as the pressure reduces, and you'd end up with lots of dribbles down in this corner. If your feet are like right here, it's a very plausible theory that someone's coming over to this woman's grave and urinating on it. Now, I went to Reddit. I don't have the links, but I did do a little bit of reading. I just searched for like lawn care or lawn maintenance, piss, lawn maintenance, human urine, lawn maintenance. Like, you know, did I kill my grass? I just did like a kind of a different variety of what people might be saying, because people pee in their yards, you know, and there's a mixed results. It turns out you can just over fertilize. Human urine is actually fairly if it's diluted, the chemicals that are in urine are decent fertilizer. There's nitrogen, apparently. I didn't get a ton of like the science explanations, but almost universally I did see people talking, because some people are like, hey, I'm peeing on my yard, but look how healthy the grass is around this where I'm peeing. It depends on the chemistry of the soil. It depends on your pH shit plays a role in this thing. And so it's not just so obvious that if you pee on your grass, you're definitely going to hurt it. And then people who have dogs out in the yard peeing can often struggle with the urine messing up the thing. And I guess the solution to that is just to water it pretty well, like rinse it up. And in fact, they say like saving your urine and using it in compost piles is actually pretty good for the compost pile. So maybe this was a kindness. You know, maybe someone thought that they were just helping the grass grow by coming over to the ex-wife's grave and urinating on it. That's possible. It's very possible. It's also possible that the world's worst person has like evidence of other crimes hidden in the grave, along with his ex-wife's corpse, the mother of 3 of his children. That's also plausible. Melania has a son. He said that. He said Melania has a son. Fucking monster. So yeah, actually, so urine is actually something that can be healthy for your grass, but you have to dilute it, I guess. I mean, that was the common kind of like takeaway lesson I took from my little Reddit journey, is that if you do want to use it, there's actually some decent stuff in there, but in high concentrations, you can kill your grass. And that's also just not true of urine. That's true of all fertilizer. If you over fertilizer, you shock it, you burn it, whatever the hell, it ends up killing it. And it looks like this, like light brown, whitish brown kind of dead grass. So as you remember, though, what the hell's going on here at this Bedminster? Here's a guy on NBC New York, one of my favorite TV channels, talking about a year ago when Ivana was first laid to rest for eternity near the tee off, near the first tee of Donald Trump's New Jersey fuckface golf course.
Pictures of a burial plot at the Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster is raising questions about the Trump organization's taxes. According to the New York Post, the burial plot is Ivana Trump's final resting place. And as News 4's Chris Glorioso reports...
Sorry, I gotta back up. Look how they're carrying this thing. That is a much better way to carry a casket. The casket I had for my uncle, it was pecan. It was gorgeous. God, it was such beautiful wood. I was so annoyed. This looks like a fairly generic looking casket though, doesn't it? They got 5 dudes. Although, yeah, this guy in the back is, yeah. So there's 5 on the left side there. There's probably 5 on the right. 5 dudes up on their shoulder. That's not that bad. I think we had 3 on each side. And they asked us to wear these white cotton gloves, which human skin can be slippery, but human skin's decent at grip. I mean, you know, and like fucking cotton gloves. As soon as I had no idea how heavy it would be. My uncle wasn't like a huge guy, you know, under 200 or something. And then he's in this giant heavy box, and I could tell this thing would I wouldn't do it now with my wrist right now. I mean, I could. I'm not bending, but I still wouldn't put the strain on my wrists because it would be horrible to drop it, man. White gloves? At least give me some gloves with those little sticky bits on it. That would help. I was floored on these like polished handles that were on the side of it, and then they put the thing in a sarcophagus. There's like a concrete box in there that they seal up. My uncle's just sitting out there somewhere. That poor guy. I miss him. He was a good dude. It sucks. I was just horrified at how gorgeous the wood was, that we were just gonna keep a corpse in it and let it sit there. It was terrible, and I was just so worried I'd drop it. I mean, and we got it done. Me and my brothers are, you know, we're all over. We're big. We're not small boys. You know, we were fine. I don't remember if there were 3 or 4 on each side, but 5, 10 men with it up on the shoulder. that's a much more stable go. Okay, just keep that in mind for when we're boxing our friends up into IKEA coffee tables, fake cardboard. We're not going to have any access to new materials eventually when the warlordism kicks in after all the countries dissolve into balkanized, regional fiefdoms built around where the last remaining bits of fresh water are and arable land might be. So don't worry, that stuff's going to kick off while we're old, because it's going to start getting. We still have some more decades of this, silly ass, stupid, destructive, suicidal society that we live in. But eventually, it's all going to fall apart, and water will be king. There'll be a lot of violence, and it'll be very terrible. But don't worry. The good news is that the billionaires added $852 billion to their fucking piles of coconuts during half a year. Like COVID, they all made like trillions. It's just like, what the fuck? Anyway, let's keep going with the story. This is important.
And as News 4's Chris Glorioso reports that could have tax benefits for the former president.
There she is, by the way.
That's the former president. Could have reports that.
What is she holding? Look at this. Look at this guy. Look at this fool.
Could have tax benefits for the former president.
It is unquestionably a golf course, but is it now a cemetery too?
Hard to argue.
The New York Post now reports Ivana Trump's gravesite is a stone's throw away from the first tee box at Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster. If this is the final resting place for the ex-president's ex-wife, that could convey tax benefits in the state.
Sorry. I do these kinds. This is like if anybody wants to hire me to work on your stupid videos, this kind of animation with sound effects is exactly what I'm very good at. But that's why I jumped out. Listen to the audio, the whip sound.
Wife, that could convey tax benefits in the state of New Jersey.
I think what really grabs people about this story is that it involves the two perennials, death and taxes.
Dartmouth sociologist Dr.
Well
Brooke Harrington studies how wealthy people shield their money from taxes. She saw reports of Ivana Trump's golf course burial and looked up New Jersey's cemetery regulations. It turns out designating your property as a cemetery could provide exemptions for property taxes, income taxes, sales tax, and the collection of judgments.
This is a perfectly legal maneuver. I can't say if former President Trump will avail himself of it. But if someone wanted to do this, designate part of the property they own as a cemetery corporation, in principle, you could do it and it wouldn't break any laws.
Does that work for cats? No, I'm making it. That's a joke. I love this cat. We cuddled this morning. All right.
It's not clear if the Ivana Trump burial plot represents an effort to turn part of the Trump golf course into a cemetery. By our deadline, the Trump course didn't respond to our inquiry, and neither did the New Jersey Cemetery Board. Likewise, elected leaders in the town of Bedminster didn't get back to us in time. But the Trump family has taken steps to create a cemetery in the past. This 2014 tax filing, first reported by ProPublica, shows an entity called the Trump Family Trust planned to maintain and operate a nonprofit cemetery in Bedminster.
If this is indeed what former President Trump is attempting to do, then he would just be behaving like a perfectly ordinary member of the ultra-rich around the world.
That's a great sentence. That's right. Just an ordinary ultra-rich asshole using government regulations to save themselves some money, which increases the burden on regular people who are producing all their wealth and providing them with the labor force and the consumer force that they need to sustain this fucking grift that is filling up their coffers. The rich get so much freebies. They get so many handouts. The governments to them are these nutrient-rich placenta of wealth and security and comfort. And I don't even call it dignity, but I'm not sure if this is dignity. But one concept that I don't know the right word for it, but the definition or the concept is when is your pain your community's problem? When does your concerns, your worries, your pain, when is your stress an emergency by your community? Because that's what a community should be. Someone's hurt, someone's injured, someone's unwell, someone needs help. That should immediately activate a community response to go make that person better, make that person whole, help that person come back, because that person will then get healthy. And then someday their turn to do that will also they'll be able to afford to contribute to I don't know if that's dignity. You know what I'm saying? Like to the dignified nature, because we just all suffer. when we're not offered help, when help doesn't arrive. And you have to go get it. You have to go ask for help. I'm someone who struggles to ask for help. I have a very hard time with it. It's fucked up a lot of things for me. It's a complex thing overall. But the rich, what they've built, because they've written all the rules in every single one of these societies, these governments, is that the government will swoop in with immense response. It'll move mountains. It'll invade countries. It'll upend democratically elected societies to install dictatorships so that the risk of having to get their bananas at a slightly increased cost because they would have to have paid laborers more money. And so we have the military there that to impose through violence the interests of capitalists throughout the country, because the risk for them is that they would have a slightly reduced rate of extraction instead of actually responding to real emergencies or real help. Because like I was saying, when a Ninja Turtle on a scooter doing a fake pizza delivery runs over your toes, guess what happens in that case? Nobody runs to your defense. You got to go borrow money. You got to go into debt. You got to go give a rich person money. You got to give somebody who doesn't need money more money. And they have all these tricks, all these ways, and they pay people well. There's always a retinue of, suck up accountants and lawyers and et cetera, to make sure all this shit happens. They don't even have to do any of it. We just know that we have to sustain the placenta. So that like second layer, that management class that sort of serves all these wealthy assholes, like, oh, well, we're selling yachts. At least I got rich selling rich people yachts. When I was doing woodworking, the only people that were buying the woodworking products were fucking rich people. When I worked at a shop, that's where I lost my wrists. I didn't get health care. I was making $18.50 an hour, and the shit was expensive as hell. And the only people that could take it, it's not like we were doing work for regular people or poor people. Yeah. So this entire apparatus exists just to pump emergency response and nutrient dense in the form of bureaucracy, in the form of all the ways that the system benefits them, into this placenta that keeps these coddled rich people going. But what are they doing with it? They're killing it. They're going to kill everybody, aside from all the racism and sexism and all the ways that they continue to sustain solidarity, disrupting cultural mores. They're also going to fuck up the entire atmosphere so that nobody can live here. Food won't be able to grow. Climate systems are going to get so bad. They're already terrible. People are going to be killed just so that we can keep these coddled scumbags, these low empathy. I don't want to say the word freak. I always call them freaks. It just sounds lazy and kind of inaccurate. It's nuts. And this is just a very small example. Just call it a cemetery. We'll just save a bunch of money on taxes. It's fine. Whatever. Bury that ex-wife of mine in the ground.
Efforts to reach the Trump family trust were not successful. Chris
Really?
Glorioso, News 4, New York.
What was his name?
Chris Glorioso, News 4.
Chris Glorioso, News 4. That's a good name. So here's some pictures of it. This is from the New York Post. Photo show Ivana Trump's grave at Trump National Golf in Bedminster. So, a woman of a high stature, high standing, married to a billionaire. This is the kind of grave you get when you're married to Donald Trump. February 20th, 1949. Died July 14th on 2022. Presumably from Bastille Day celebrations that went awry. Some flowers. I mean, this is like, that could be a placeholder. Maybe they're working on the giant tomb marker, but this is where they buried her a year ago. Let's see. I think there's nope, not in this. Yeah. Okay. So here's some photos of the area. Yeah. Look at that. Look, there's the lovely spot that he put the mother of 3 of his kids. He said he plans to build a 10-plot graveyard. I think there was some indication he said he wants to be buried there, as if this, like, because Trump is like he's one of those psychos. He's one of those like build me a pyramid guys. There's no way he probably can't conceptualize his death. It's probably something that he is incapable of handling, at least not in a, healthy or ordinary sort of way, as is true for every single thing about him. I mean, he must have some concept that he could die. Gotta imagine that. But he's he would want to be, have his body displayed on Mount Rushmore on top on a giant corn dog stick covered in corn juice. His company wrote, Mr. Trump specifically chose this property for his final resting place, as it is his favorite property. Well, isn't that sweet? Isn't that nice? His company wrote in a 2014 state filing. I'm sure that's true. Here is a, oh yeah, so we were going to fly around on it a little bit, but just so you can, I just want you to see the comparison. Before we get to that, let's go to, besides the theory that it's some sort of tax scheme to declare it a cemetery and then he gets a bunch of discount taxes from the local community. Here are the theories that were written in the, what is this, in New York Magazine, The Intelligencer, Why Ivana Trump Was Buried at Bedminster Golf Course. 3 theories by Margaret Hartman, who's a senior editor. Just a dismal grave. Well, first one is, she says Trump really loves northern New Jersey. I mean, we've all seen Sopranos. There's a woods there. Who knew there's woods there? If Trump National Golf Bedminster held a special place, okay, blah blah blah. Okay, whatever. I don't need to read this shit. Fuck this stuff. But theory 2, Trump is running an elaborate tax scheme. We've already heard a little bit about this. There's probably other ways. It might not just be as a cemetery thing. Is a person with an alleged passion for tax avoidance. That's for sure. They love all the benefits of society, but none of the part where you have to actually pay for it. You can get other people to do that or just live diminished lives. It's a great system. So this is that lady that picked up on the fact that it might be the tax scheme. Very good. And then he's just keeping it weird is theory number 3. It's always been my suspicion that this is quoting land use board member Nick Strakov. It's always been my suspicion that there's something we don't know. Fair. I've always suspected we know everything. Anybody agree with this or not? I'm not sure. He told, okay, that's the land use board member. It does seem we're missing a key piece of the boneyard puzzle. But there is one thing we know about Trump now that it wasn't quite as apparent back then. He is a super weird guy. He has managed to be weird with various kinds of paper, toilet bowls, aircraft carriers, and dangerous fruit, to name just a few of his proclivities. The thought of our inevitable demise brings out strange feelings and behavior in most people. True. Some of the rich plan to freeze themselves or shoot their remains into space. That's great. Thanks, rich people. Thank you. Is it any surprise that Trump has some grandiose idea about how he and his family should be laid to rest? We'll just finish this up here. It's never something you'd like to think about, but it makes sense, Trump told the New York Post during his first attempt to make Bedminster a cemetery in 2007. This is such beautiful land, and Bedminster is one of the richest places in the country. What? Trump commentary on the wealth of northern New Jersey aside, that sounds astonishingly well adjusted. Okay. Got him. You got him. There's also a lot of speculation. I thought I had the article, but maybe... Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Hang in there. No, I don't. I thought I had the article where just talking about speculating that he might have buried evidence in the grave with his ex-wife. That's incredibly plausible. That's also the kind of accusation that would make you seem like you're being unfair about a person's character if you didn't know anything about that person. But if you know Trump, it fits. It's dumb. It's on the nose. It's probably not dumb too at the same time in the sense that it's protected. One way to really make it can you imagine the stories if somehow they had to exhume her body, this grave, because they were like credible suspicions that there might be evidence buried under there. I mean, this was last summer when she was buried after he was president, which means he would have been under somewhat less scrutiny and he wouldn't have done the work. There's no way his stupid ass is out there. This moron. Look at this guy. No way he's grabbing a shovel and doing anything. This guy hasn't touched a tool. The only tool he's touched is him. No, let's see what there's no fucking way it would have been him. So there must be people that would know, and maybe because it would be crazy to go do it without any credible evidence besides the fact that it seems completely like something he would do. You just can't do that. It's a very smart place to hide evidence, to bury stuff. And that's exactly what people do. These rich weirdos, I think our relationship with death and mortality is completely deranged. I think there's probably very healthy ways of community approaches and cultural, traditions that formed out of those things over time. It doesn't have to be grief and death and loss, and the fact that we are all going to die should not necessarily be a source of such pain and source of such fear as it is. But it is because we're alienated, we're atomized, we're individuated, we kind of left to our own devices on that. We have each of our family probably has their own sort of, mini cultures that relate to the way we deal with this stuff. Some healthier than others for sure. We also have to work all the time, so we're not given time to grieve or time to actually process these things. Both my parents are still alive. I am dreading their deaths for various reasons. They're my parents. It sucks. I mean, they're both in their mid-70s. They're starting to get up to the finish line anyway. But it's going to be really rough. It's going to be emotionally incredibly hard. I've already gone through one with my mother where she, basically was dead. And we were going to pull she was in a coma and we had, so we were preparing to like start to make funeral arrangements is where we were at when it turned around. She managed to pull through somehow. It was kind of a miraculous, and she wasn't brain dead. We expected her to be brain damaged if she came out of it. Big turnaround there. But so I've kind of experienced a family, one of my parents' death already. So I get to have 3, I guess. That was a difficult time in my life. That whole event. Maybe I'll write about it eventually in something. But we are completely deranged with our approach to death, especially the way we treat elderly people. Once you are no longer able of producing capital, or if you haven't saved up enough money so that you can continue to pump your retirement savings into someone's coffers, you're useless, and we don't give a shit. You're just as much as your only use is if you can be used as a Medicaid scam in terms of, are you going to have access to like a safe and healthy final years? Some people get lucky. They find situations or there's enough support. I mean, it's not like it's exactly the same outcome for everybody, but our relationship with death is totally deranged. It's another, I think, relates to kind of a lot of what I was talking about last week, which is like just the whole relationship we have to violence and the relationship we have to the cultural conditioning around pain and like the commonly like broadly defined pain, stress, other people dying is, not that you can take on the entire depth of the grief of every person's death. It would be impossible. We're exposed to so much death in terms of news and stuff. So yeah, there should be, I mean, it makes sense that there's some detachment from that, but one of our worst traits, one of the worst conditions of our culture is our ability to dismiss others' pain. We just tell a story. Well, they made bad choices. Well, they did something wrong. Well, it's their fault. Hey, what can I do? And a lot of that comes out of childhood trauma and self-defense or protective kinds of responses. The conditioning starts very young. And unfortunately, like the goal of a society should be that everybody dies of old age. That should be it. What are the conditions required so that nobody dies of an accident, nobody dies of violence, nobody dies of untreated health care, which I would actually consider that a form of violence. Is there any more violent person than a fucking healthcare executive? Goes to work and kills people and comes home with a paycheck. It's most repugnant. I don't know how I'd be able to, not that I would do anything physical, but like, how could you live next door to a health insurance executive and not be like, oh yeah, that guy's just like a fucking Nazi, man. That guy just kills people, gets up and goes to work and murders people through bureaucracy and gets paid for it and gets celebrated if they do a good job. Evil stuff. So, sorry, that's one of my hobby horses. Was that what we would call a hobby horse? I don't know. A pommel horse. That's one of those. That's the same thing, right? Yeah, so that's all fucked up here. All right, so let's just explore this Bedminster place a little bit, though. I don't know. I just figured let's just see. I've never actually seen and looked into what this freak show is like or what it's about. One of the fortresses of wealth and tacky, gross, fake, faux. Not really like Trump is a genuinely a wealthy person, but also a complete phony along the way. So here's a little Time magazine video at the Trump National Golf Club. All right, we're checking it out. That's Florida. Boy, this sound is horrible. I'm turn it way down. He's expected to head to this high-end golf. Okay, sorry. Oh, that's where he prepped for the debates. Look at this editing. Honk, honk, honk. We're going to watch this again. So he's shaking Christie, then he's with Romney, then he's pointing at Betsy DeVos, the education secretary, who is a Christian extremist who wants to get rid of public education. There we go. I love it. Was that a baritone sax? Something like that? Okay, I'm really bored. Here are some interesting facts. Okay, we got some new facts. Oh, it's his favorite new escape. They've got ketchup dispensers in the bathroom. Uh-oh. What? John Delorean, the automaker, or did he automake, or did the workers do the work? I'm sure he had something to do with it, but we always individualize the achievements of these collectives we call corporations. The parasite at the top of the corporation gets all the credit, but it didn't actually, it's not actually doing any of the thing. So John Delorean owned it. That's kind of interesting. There's actually a Netflix documentary where he is played by Alec Baldwin, and Alec Baldwin takes it so seriously that I just remember watching it. I could not get over that he was being Alec Baldwin. Look at this. This is, oh, what the fuck? I grabbed the wrong one. Sorry. Look, there's Alec Baldwin as John Delorean. And I just remember him, the way Alec Baldwin was in the video of it. Let's see if we get a video. Let's see.
Are you surprised that a feature film hasn't been made about your dad and his life?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
He's got cocaine, hot chicks, sports cars, bombed out buildings.
My 4 favorite things: cocaine, hot chicks, bombed out buildings, and what was the third? The car. Hot car.
Margaret Thatcher.
Margaret Thatcher. That would add that to the list.
FBI agents and hardcore drug dealers.
Allow me to introduce the DeLorean motor car.
Wow. Pretty fun. There he is. That's Alec Baldwin. True story.
A number of people have been wanting to do a movie of my life.
I'm going to try to be
Alec Baldwin.
John Delorean was the leading man Hollywood producers dream of, and he was real.
That's right.
He was one of the maverick rogues of his day.
What the hell is this?
That's the GTO.
You're out of your damn mind.
He married the
Out of his damn eyebrows.
world's top supermodel.
My dad was at the peak of everything, and then came the car.
This is the DeLorean Motor Company.
It's impossible to start up a car company.
This is real innovation.
And you've got the money for this?
Oh, yeah.
John didn't have the money.
Was that Noah Wiley?
John didn't have.
Sorry, I'm just
You've got
obsessed
the
with these
money for
actors. Look, it's Noah Wiley from the famous TV show ER.
Oh, yeah.
John didn't have the money.
Who plays his
We were
wife?
head-
Let's see if we
oh,
can.
John didn't have the money.
We were
Sorry,
Real
I get back there.
innovation.
And you've
Sorry.
got the money for this?
Oh, yeah.
That's bad.
John didn't have the money.
We were heading for insolvency.
John Delorean is in jail this morning.
I just found out a few hours ago. I know nothing.
Stability and sanity
Right,
left
she
the
looks so
household
familiar.
and he got arrested.
When John puts all the chips on the table and loses, you have to play music while everything collapses around him. It's like da na 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 na.
All right.
You start to
Genius, savior, liar. Okay, that's a fun diversion. So, let's see. Let's watch more of this. So these are some more fun facts. He bought it for $35 million in 2002. Opened as Trump National Golf Club. Gross. Golf. 535 acres of land and has 2 18-hole courses. All right, there's like a pool, ugly fountain, some side pool stuff, a bunch of chairs, other amenities. 25-meter heated pool, 2 oversized hot tubs, and poolside dining service. Wow. The waiters come by and they chew it and they spit it into your mouth. They'll even bury the bodies of the children and the hobos that you get to murder on Friday night murder night. It's a Friday night. It's only the summers that they do that. Uh-oh. Jared Kushner. Middle Eastern's favorite. Jared Kushner. $2 billion. They made these two talk about grifting. I don't like the word grifter, but I think that applies. Something like $650 million while they were during the 4 years that they worked at the White House, that they were paid federal employees. So Ivanka and Kushner got married there with the luxury estates. Okay. Isn't that sweet? Banner. Come on. Banner. Oh, the golf club is slated to host the 2017 U.S. Women's Open in July and the 2022 PGA Championship. Hell yeah. The Saudi Arabia bought the PGA, right? Like they're just totally... That's cool. That's fun. All right, thanks, Fortune. You did it, or whatever. Fortune Radar by Time Magazine. I thought that said the gay. It says the guy behind the DeLorean, but my brain read that as gay. The gay behind the DeLorean. I'm like, well, all right, good for him. So let's just go to a map, though. I have a Google Earth thing, which is like a little gives you access. So we'll take a look at where it is in the United States. So for friends that don't know, this whole cluster shit here is New York. New Jersey is like over here and stuff. This big old island that's really long, that's called Long Island, because we name our amenity. We name our landmasses very creatively here in the United States. You know what we call the mountains to the west? The Rocky Mountains. It's over there by the wet ocean. So this lake here, I don't know what it's called. I could probably turn on names and stuff, but I know that, what's there, a weird star shape? What the fuck is this? Doesn't have the 3D thing on there. That's nuts. What is this place? Wow, New Jersey is truly a land of wonder and mystery. I'm pretty sure it's where the Witcher universe is based. So hang on. I had it. Oh yeah, this is it here. All right, I'll start at the building. Okay, there's the 25-meter heated pool with the 2 oversized hot tubs. This is that statue, right? So this is the angle in the photo that we just saw in the video. If we back it up a little bit. Okay, see that statue? See this structure there? I think that's correct. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. Got a couple of tennis courts. 4 tennis courts. Oh my God, that is luxury. Basketball court, bunch of parking spots, some outbuildings. So according to The Guardian, this piece here, I thought there was a photo of the overhead that showed us where. Well, anyway, I remember it since I have a good memory for this stuff. Here is where she's buried. Here's the first tee. Okay, so you come out here. These are like practice greens, I'm going to guess. I used to be a caddy. I caddied for about 3 or 4 years when I was a teen. Best years of my life. No, not really. And so I'm familiar with the kind of rhythms of a golf place. There's usually places near the place to kind of warm up. There's usually some holes. There's often a driving range of some kind, which actually that looks like this is probably the driving range. Yep, I would bet. Yep, it's got all the divots. So these sort of slowly migrate around as they grow the grass back after it gets divoted up. So you could pop a bunch of shots off into there, get your warm up. I don't know how the rest of the entire course is structured here, but I do recall seeing this overhead shot and that the plot where they're buried is right here. Big old flag because, freedom, liberty, home of the involuntarily brave. Love living in a country where bravery is required at all times. Stray bullets can come right through the window at any time. Did a Ninja Turtle run over your toes in a fake scooter delivery? Well, time for some bravery, motherfucker. Go to work. Get enough money so a rich person gets more money, and then maybe we'll help you with your toes, okay, you piece of shit? So anyway, this is the plot. This is where she's buried. I remember seeing a thing. Because this is the first hole, this one here. I'm guessing this is the 18th. Oftentimes the first and the 18th are close to each other, depending, obviously. But usually you end back by where you start. So there must be sort of a clubhouse. This is what I'm guessing is kind of like there's always a locker room. I don't know if they have a female locker room or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did not. Okay, yeah. So you go in there, you have your satanic rituals, you do blood sacrifices with your fellow, demons. Everybody's unfortunately going to, not alive in time for immortality to come around. So they all have their grief rituals. These freak fucking rich people all want to live forever because it's unfair. So yeah, there you go. She's buried somewhere right around here. And this is what it looks like now. This is what it started as. Right there. There's the grave. There's the plot. And then, the marker. And then here it is now. Those have to be pissed, man. Or maybe someone was just over fertilizing with like a squirt gun. I'm trying to think of ways what else could it be? Who knows? There's all kinds of reasons why grass might get fucked up, I guess. But yeah, that tracks, especially if you're a big dribbler. Especially if by the end you got just most of it just sort of dropping straight down once you lose the velocity. So crazy stuff. So that's right about where she would have been. Yeah, let's go. Let's see this. So this is the first hole. I don't know. This is either 2 or one of these is 2, because you have different tee boxes for different skill levels. Usually, it's kind of how it works. Yeah. So yeah, lots of places to hide evidence and bury your children in there. This must be like the service, if it's even connected. Sometimes I get lost just looking at Google stuff. These overhead maps. In fact, here is Bedminster Trump. I have the reviews open, but let's see. Close that. No, see, that's not what I wanted. No. Bedminster Trump. Oh, that's the one. Okay, so just to give a sense for, this is not the Google Earth Studio, which is what I was using before. So it's 535 acres. I don't know if there's a way to get a circle or like a border around the property. There probably are maps somewhere on the internet. So let's go to the satellite shot just to reorient yourself. There's the pool. See, this is less, these graphics aren't as good. Basketball court. Thank you very much. Green pin. Okay, so this must be, this is the clubhouse I was speculating about, I'm going to guess. Walk out here, tuck your shirt in, make some racist comment, look around, see there's a black guy, go, oh, well, I wish I was alive before. All these people. Can you imagine being one of these persons that wants to be at Mar-a-Lago or this kind of place? One of these goofballs. Practice putting, I'm guessing. First tee, giant flag, dead wife covered in nuclear codes and stuff. Or whatever, phone records of you talking to people that you sold them to. I don't know. What kind of things could he have hidden there? Whatever it is, it's dumber than we can imagine. We can guarantee that. So right up there by Elizabeth Lane. Trump Trail 2. Curious what this house is. This part of the property? That's interesting. Could be. It's hard to say. There's a few Trump trails. All right. Ooh, Hoopstick Brook. All right. I'm sure she was popular. There's some kind of weird hedge maze. Yeah, I'm going to guess that these are a lot of rich folks' ass houses around here. Look at that thing. Huh? Think of the expensive wine you could be getting drunk on and then passing out in that and abusing some servant that has to come wake you up. Oof. Man, it's good to be. We all just want to be in the 1%, don't we? I just want to be able to afford shoes and like not be terrified that I'm going to die of old people poverty. Just fucking have a nice time and work hard on meaningful efforts. What's going on here? Okay, we got some extra stuff. I don't know if this is part of the property or not. Just some tennis courts. Are these pickleballs? Those are pickleballs, aren't they? Definitely pickleballs. I'm pretty sure those are pickleball courts. Pickle courts. All right. There's the holes. Do they have so the place where I caddied had a little like a concession shop, like a little actually big fat hot dogs. So it was tradition for the golfers to buy the caddy a meal. So you got like the caddy deal, which was like a Coke and like a big hot dog, big fat girthy. And that was one of my favorite parts. I love free food. I love it when I get a free, I turn into such a I don't know if I'd say glutton, but it's more just like I can't turn it down. If you walk by me with like a tray of little tiny something that has like crunchy and then maybe a shrimp, I will eat it. And I will be so grateful. And I will probably want to eat more. And I might even want to put one in my pocket. So this is somebody's got their pool right there. Lamington Road over here. Oh, Bedminster Farms. I wonder if this is there's also a bunch of tax breaks for making your property a farm. You know, so you can kind of like just game the entire system. This has got to be just some rich motherfucker's house here, huh? Let's go over to the Google Maps. Sorry, I'm just having fun here. I'm just kind of rolling around. Let's see, that would be, I lost track of the orient. Oh yeah, here's the pickles. There's the pickle courts. This also lets you do this. There it is. That's the one we were just looking at. Lovely. Lovely. Great air conditioning. Proof of one's success is gigantic separated houses. The things that they hoard are security and comfort and access to community help, even though they pay for it. But they make it so that you can't form communities on your own because people are too busy working and being scared of each other's skin colors. All right. Yep. Not just a lot of houses, a lot of good, nice old buildings. So you could, I bet is this a horse deal here? I don't know. Look for a horse. Is this good podcasting? This has got to be bad audio. I'm so sorry. I don't even know. Maybe I'll have to skip over this bit. All right. Yeah. Okay. So that's Trump's place. That's how Trump gets there. And these are the woods where, damn it, Christopher. Oh fuck, what's his name? And Polly, Christopher and Polly were running around where they had to survive on sauce packets to get through the frigid cold night. Ooh, look at that lovely tree. You know, that's got to be a really beautiful little stroll, right? Right up through there, right up into your special garden. This kind of trellis topper there. Think of the parties. This appears to be some sort of mid-construction spot. Man, ain't America grand, huh? Look at that. Look at these. Look at these ones. These are slightly smaller. Poor people. The real estate crisis is absolutely fucking bonkers. And among the reasons it's terrible is that when people can't live near where they work, because all these rich people are completely dependent on other human beings to do the labor that they don't want to do because they have money. They don't have to do it. They can pay others. But people have to travel incredibly long distances to get to and from their jobs. When you live, San Francisco is a good example. Sort of the opposite of what we're seeing, where it's like wealth concentrated in a city as opposed to wealth concentrated in much more spread out kind of areas. But among the reasons the housing crisis is so problematic is that it forces the servants to then have to commute and to give up even more of their life energy to these people because they can't afford to live within an hour or two of where they have to go to work. And then we don't have mass transit systems, and so they're left without an ability to get there other than a car. Since you're required to own a car, you're subjected to the whims of breakdowns and the costs and the insurance and the risk. It's dangerous to drive. It's one of the more dangerous things we all just kind of take for granted. So yeah, it's a really kind of a messed up way of doing stuff. Yeah. All right. Well, you'd think though that like I tweeted this, I actually retweeted a Benjamin Dixon. He does a show tweet, but it was like the comment I made was just like how like sustaining human habitability of the planet should be the minimum expectation, considering all the rich, of the super wealthy, of the powerful, of the corporations and their ruling class operators is how I phrased it. It should be a minimum expectation for all the wealth and luxury and power and immortality. We give corporations immortality. And shouldn't we at least expect, okay, you're going to steer culture or delay cultural progress. They're going to do everything you can to keep up the anti-solidarity momentum of capitalism and the kind of dysregulation that comes on personal levels, on broad levels. We're community dysregulated, and we're also individually dysregulated. All of that, all the price that we pay. Some of us lose the ability to use our hands, so that people who already have a lot of money can save a little bit of money. And for all of that, we should at least expect that the planet remains habitable for humans. This should not be a negotiation. In fact, there are ways of ending this, not that I know exactly, but if it was an island and one person's giant pile of coconuts, and they had a retinue, that's the second time using that word. They had their, the subclass just below where they are also aspiring, but they're wealthy, they're comfortable, and they're the servants of the super wealthy, the, professional managerial class. And then they have their violence agents, their violence officers just below that. But that composes roughly 10% of the population, maybe. It tapers off very fast from the 1%. But if it was an island of 100 people and there was one person with far more coconuts than the bottom 80%, and they're doing all the toil for it, that person doesn't lift a single finger to do anything, but they command the violence officers to defend their giant pile and to enforce the rules on the rest. If there's one person out of 100 people, well, there's a solution. The 85 people at the bottom have to get together one night and solve the problem. And then you have an island with 99 people. There's solutions to this, but we don't have, obviously that's a drastic oversimplification of it, but that's what's happening. It's such madness. It's such fucking madness that this is the way things go. There's a lot of politics around golf courses and stuff, and a lot of city shenanigans and tax stuff. So, do we have anything? Oh, I wanted to read the Trump reviews. I'm just wasting that just because I thought I would. So here's a guy says, this 5 stars. This golf course is one of the most amazing pieces of property in New Jersey, in my opinion. Mr. Trump has gone above and beyond to give an amazing experience when visiting here. The staff is made up of some of the hardest working individuals in their field. The field of keeping grass very short and easy and fun to roll balls around on. Again, we had a wonderful time here, and we cannot wait to be invited back. Thank you to my commander-in-chief. I think it's called commander-in-chief. I don't think it's commander and. It's commander-in-chief. He's the one commander, the one who is in charge of the other commanders. There's no way Trump could do both of those. An amazing businessman. Declaring his property to be a cemetery for saving money. Boy, shouldn't we all be so lucky? And soon to be the 47th president of the best country in the entire world. Ah! America, give me a hug. Yeah, they found 2 bodies tangled up in the razor buoys that we place on our southern river border. Just people, the bravest fucking people on the planet trying to cross a river. The desperation it takes to traverse Mexico to all the risk that goes into trying to get to America, and they're greeted with murderous razor wire. Greatest country in the world. Another guide here, or another review. Beautiful course, amazing staff, professional as can be. They take care of you once you pull up to the gate. The course was in prestige shape, and the food was really amazing. Asterisk. Update attended the Live tournament. That's the thing that the Saudi Arabia. I think that's the Saudi Arabian government's golf enterprises tournament, and could not have asked for a better venue. The event was well put together. Congratulations, Saudi Arabia, on your achievements here in America. Great facility, attentive staff. There you go. That's actually directly taken from my dating profile. Okay, sorry. I don't know. Yeah, okay. Here's another one. While we had to change our wedding date several times because of the pandemic, the club was wonderful to work with, especially Amanda. Once we had finalized our date, Amanda, oh my God, we got a book. Amanda was so helpful to ensure our big day went as planned. From the time we arrived on property for bridal party prep and groom's lunch, their customer service was impeccable. Well, that's good. We had our ceremony on property while we were, I like to imagine they were all in the pickle courts. Click, 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 click. Click. That's my impression of pickleball. And while we were hoping to have it outdoors, the staff was so gracious as to be patient to let us make the call on whether to go ahead and have it outdoors. However, the weather did not break, and all vendors and TNGC, that must be Trump National Golf Club staff, quickly transformed the ballroom into a magical ceremony space. Man, sounds nice. Our guests have mentioned repeatedly that the food and drinks were the best they have had in a long time, and we could not be happier with the attention to detail that was taken in the preparation of food, both at the food stations as well as the past hors d'oeuvres during cocktail hour. The reception food was just as delicious, and servers were attentive to each of our guests. Catered food is usually pretty good. Yeah, I'm down. When they say the best day ever, I agree that it was, and so glad we decided to book with the Trump National. Amanda and the rest of the team. Hey, you know what? That's where I'm going to have my wedding, to my coven of 7 super lefty witches who let me stay at home because I'm good at fixing stuff and I'll do my podcast. I'm a great cook. I am good at like planning cooking. I suck at so many other things in life, but if you're like, okay, we're doing fish fry Thursday, leave it to me, man. I'll be thinking about that shit for weeks. I'm not gonna let down my wives, right? Maybe one of them's traveling on a business trip. She'll survive the zombie plague when it hits in America while she's in Malaysia doing her shipping business. That's part of the plot of Station 11. Great book. Great food. Okay, one more. Great food and super nice staff really make you feel welcome. We expect a little snobby, but just the opposite. Very unpretentious, genuine people. Response from the owner. Thank you, Charlie. We appreciate you taking the time. I'm not going to do it. To review us and recognizing our team. The club is full of friendly people ready to deliver first-class hospitality in a beautiful setting. Hey, this is the free market at work. You know, sounds like their customers who want them are finding them. But okay, a 2-star. All in all, an okay, even good place to golf, but you can't get away from the hype and politics, which is distracting and even a bit tasteless. Some players, not necessarily members, were quite full of themselves. Staff is excellent. Food is not as good as you'd expect, though. That's funny. I just want to find like one more that's not. Okay, here's a 1-star. The food and service were subpar. Decor was kitschy. Nothing special about playing golf there. It's a shame because I was really looking forward to this place. No, that's fair. That's okay. You know, we all get to have our opinion. Don't like it? Move to Canada, fuckface. Just for fun, since actually I mentioned something about this. My roommate brought up Melania's Christmas comments. I just want to play this audio. This is so funny. God damn it, this fucking podcast. I might have to, yeah, okay. I have Pee Wee Herman videos to watch. Leaked audio. This is when Melania, this is from 2 years ago. This was posted October 1st, 2020. So, yeah, before the election. Melania was recorded griping about all the work that she does at the White House. And she dropped this wonderful gem, as you'll remember.
That, you know, who gives a about Christmas stuff and decoration, but I need to do it.
Who gives a fuck about Christmas stuff? This fucking Halloween decorating is not my style. Arbor Day, who gives a fucking shit about Arbor Day?
That's right.
Yeah, but 100%. You have no choice.
And okay, and
you're the first lady. You have to decorate. This is not a patriarchy. We do expect our first ladies to be like, huh? Decorating? Hillary leaned into that hard in the 90s when she was, she came forward as like a brass balls lawyer lady who's not putting up with this bullshit because she wasn't putting up with the bullshit. Although she and Bill Clinton did have slaves. They literally, the Arkansas state governor mansion includes staff who are prisoners, who are literally slaves. It's crazy. But anyway, then as a public relations thing, she moved to become like a big cookie baker because she was sort of contrast. She was trying to be like Barbara Bush in the 90s. So she turned into like this Susie Homemaker. Oh, I'm just baking cookies. It's very, very like craven on her part, but also a comment on our culture, right? So let's see what else she goes.
Then I do it, and I say that I'm working on Christmas, planning for the Christmas. And they said, oh, what about the children, that they were separated? Give me a break.
Nobody care about the fucking children. I don't care about my own children, whatever name is. Why did I not marry other billionaire? She must just watch him eat and just be like, come on, that's a big bite. Come on, let that be the one. Come on, choke, motherfucker, choke. I bet you every time she watches that fucking guy scoop shit into his face, she's just going, just fucking die. And this, what unholiness holds this piece of shit together? He starts choking, and she pretends to dial the phone, like, oh, Donald, oh, I cannot, oh, I'm so scared, why you choke? Oh, I dropped phone. Oh, she starts like stepping around, like even the camera. You're shooting that. This is the video version of it. Trump is sitting there going, like his face just turning more and more red and bloated as he's panicking because he's choking to death. And her like high heels like click, 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 run by the camera, click, 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 run past the camera. I go get help, Donald. I go get help right away. Oh, you know. And then slowly, you know, he dies, and she stops. The high heels slowly stop there, and then they like start dancing. And then she starts crying again, and she goes and gets help. That's how I would make the movie. I've seen some discussion about this guy in terms of like in the future when we start making movies and stuff. And Trump has been portrayed as in a couple of movies. In fact, one of them was the what's that movie where Colin Firth has huge eyebrows and he's Irish and he's buddies with the heavier set Irish guy. He's a famous actor. He's a very good actor. You see him in a bunch of stuff. Big, bulbous Irish face. Really great guy. He plays Trump in a Showtime movie, I think. And it's something I've been thinking about too for a few years or whatever. I've seen some discourse on Twitter, and it's like, how can you portray Trump in a role as an actor? If you do it accurately, it'll look like you're making fun of him. He's beyond parody because he himself is parody. It's such a weird thing. It's almost like he's gonna benefit in that sense. Like they're gonna make him seem the only two, like not the only, but like completely outlandish, cartoonish depictions are very much going to be a thing, I think. But also like more serious interpretations are going to be less accurate. They're going to make him seem more like a human than he really is. It is such a strange thing to have this kind of personality, this sort of figure. And why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he be the way he is after a lifetime of having everything be reinforced, being granted nothing but praise and money and power and praise and glory and all the narrative of his life is like, oh, well, what a narcissist's wet dream, man. Totally. Even these trials put him at the center. I mean, I can't imagine it feels great to have, I think this week coming up here, Georgia is going to be releasing their indictments about his attempts to rig the election in Georgia, where he was on tape. I think they have him on tape just telling the guy to like make up votes. There's probably more evidence, I'm sure, obviously. So I don't know if it's going to push his indictment count over 100, but it would be fascinating if he ever spends a night in jail. I wonder if that'll ever happen. I think they'll negotiate some sort of exile. Okay, all right, now you're just on permanent vacation at Mar-a-Lago and New Jersey. That's it. It would be fun if he flees. It would be great if he takes off in his... I guess he doesn't own that big jet. He leases it. But if he ends up fleeing to some country... But yeah, here's more. Let's just keep going with this.
So, where they were saying anything when Obama did that?
I know.
That's funny. Why couldn't I have married different billionaire? Fuck! Did not want to be first lady. Boy. Let me see this children thing again. No, not Obama. She's just mad because she's fulfilling her wifely duties as America's first lady, having to do decorations. And her Christmas decorating was also horrifying. It was like American Horror Story billboards, just all red trees, just all one color, like terrifying, ugly ass, tasteless trees.
Separated. Give me a break.
Family stuff about government goons stealing children from desperate families trying to better their lives. Give me a fucking break. I want one more. I want the who gives a fuck about Christmas stuff.
Ask my ass
I know.
Christmas stuff that, who gives a about Christmas stuff and the
that's honestly that's the one humanizing thing I've ever heard her say. I don't care about Christmas stuff either. I haven't decorated for Christmas in like years. I couldn't even, yeah. I know people love their Christmas stuff. It'd be weird if me and my roommate were like, all right, well, it's time to take down the Thanksgiving decorations. Let's put up the Christmas. It's like, I don't have anything close to a Christmas decoration. Yeah. All right. That's crazy. Pee Wee Herman. God damn it. Hour 32. Let's hold off on the Pee Wee stuff. Because I got a bunch of videos. I just wanted to just watch a bunch of the old guy. Paul Rubin died. You know, it sucks. I was a kid. I was like probably like the perfect demo market for his Pee Wee's Playhouse. So yeah, this guy was a pretty big role in my life. Although I don't have I'm not a Pee Wee scholar, obviously. I did see this, so I did bookmark this. So we'll save the Pee Wee shit for another time. So, but this here, a video on Twitter of a Fox News clip has been going around here. 2.9 million views. Apparently this guy is a little confused about who wrote Mein Kampf.
Check out his podcast, What the Hell is Going On with Critical Race Theory. It was very good, very informative. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. On the Princeton point here, you and I have discussed it at the college level, this is fair game. Go ahead and do it, right? I mean, I remember 20 years old going to Trier, Germany, and trying to find the home of Karl Marx because, you know, 1848, he wrote Mein Kampf. I want to know what it was all about. So
what the fuck? I mean, did he misspeak? Hitler wrote Mein Kampf, motherfucker, not Karl Marx. I should go driving around.
The education in America, if you so choose. So,
then it's a comment on America's education system. Well, we definitely don't teach Karl Marx in this country. You gotta stumble into that, or somebody has to introduce it to you. Because once you learn what it is and what it's about, and kind of the premise that workers should not necessarily put up with the fucking nonsense that capitalists impose on them. I know that's a very broad summary, but the idea that someone would criticize capitalism in the 1800s is, of course. Why wouldn't? Of course, there was going to be people that looked at the devastation of communities, the destruction of older traditional guilds and ways of operating, the violence and the people languishing in severe, abject destitution and poverty, and have negative things to say about it. Not that that's what Karl Marx. He was very much like I don't know if you describe him as a theoretician, a philosopher. I mean, he was very broadly based, I think, writer, partially in a sense that's kind of what's not problematic, but like it makes it a little bit dense. It makes like getting into his stuff, reading theory, reading his books, a challenge, which I have not done either. I've listened to a bunch of podcasts describing it all. I've read tons of articles and stuff. But just the idea, they don't teach it because once you learn about it, you go, oh, yeah, that'll actually make sense. Yes, that's true. I get it. I see. Oh yeah. So yeah, labor precedes. Yeah. Okay. And there's class struggle that is always going to be there because these people can't relent their grip of ownership over people, over resources, use the tools of state and state violence to impose all that. So this guy, let's listen to this again. Bill Hemmer. He used to be on CNN.
Go ahead and do it, right? I mean, I remember 20 years old going to Trier, Germany, and trying to find the home of Karl Marx because, you know, 1848, he wrote Mein Kampf. I want to know what it was all about. So that's part of the education in America, if you so choose. So that's that. More to come.
These guys are just just neuralizing themselves with their fucking bullshit. Yeah, that's nuts. That's just not at all the case at all. Whatever. Well, let's just click on the quote tweets. What the fuck? See what happens here. Oh, Mehdi Hassan. These are going to be like people I follow. Yes, I follow Mehdi Hassan. Mein Kampf, the Communist Manifesto. What's the difference? Am I right? All right. Yep. He did that. David Roberts writes, pretty amazing watching the world's richest country deliberately endumbing itself. Agreed. Malcolm, I don't follow Malcolm Nance. Maybe I do, actually. What a fucking idiot. Malcolm Nance says, Republicans against Trump. I do not follow them. Mein Kampf was not written by Karl Marx in 1848. It was written by Adolf Hitler in 1925. I guess this is just more alternative facts from Fox News. Yeah. I mean, let's say he misspoke. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he was just speaking. He's getting ready for transition. Maybe the producer was squawking in his little earpiece and he just had to think of a book. Maybe he just didn't, maybe he meant to say Das Kapital or something like that. And instead, the book his brain came up with was Mein Kampf. Like if you're trying to think of a book in your head, that's like, it'd be weird if you said Harry Potter or like The Stand or something like more contemporary. But if you're just trying to pull up a book, And the one book that comes to your brain the quickest is Mein Kampf. Well, I guess that's a good way to keep your job at Fox News. Okay. The president is a true Scorpio, says this person tweeting. I am Chantizi. The Chantizi is real on Twitter. I did see a ton of people tweeting this. I don't know what was about to happen. So yeah, I intentionally did not watch this because it seemed like it was getting a lot of attention. 7.7 million views. Let's just see what the heck is going on in this one. It's 1 minute and 42 seconds.
These union workers that have been working countless hours under the Trump administration, I'd like you to explain how you plan to not only keep us working.
All right, so for the audio only, it's Biden at a union. Well, I don't know. I mean, I assume these guys are union. They're wearing hard hats. There's a lot of cameras around. Guy's reading something. This looks familiar, though. I feel like this might have been from the campaign.
How you intend on getting the union vote when there's a large portion of the union workers that are gun
This guy's reading off a phone, so he has like a prepared question, which I think is a good way to do this.
enthusiasts, and you are actively trying to diminish our Second Amendment right and take away our guns.
You're full of shit.
All right, thank you.
Now go to shush.
Yeah, this is from the campaign, if my memory's right. I remember because the guy let's start over. But then the whole thing is how you're going to take away our guns. This is kind of maybe I'll say the comment till we're done. But let's start over because I talked over a bunch of that.
These union workers that have been working countless hours under the Trump administration, I'd like you to explain how you plan to not only keep us working, but how you intend on getting the union vote when there's a large portion of the union workers that are gun enthusiasts, and you are actively trying to diminish our Second Amendment right and take away our guns.
You're full of shit.
All right, thank you.
Now go to shush. Shush. I support the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment, just like right now, if you yell fire, that's not free speech. And from the very beginning, I have a shotgun, I have a 20 gauge, a 12 gauge, my son's hunt. Guess what? You're not allowed to own any weapon. I'm not taking your gun away at all. You need 100 rounds.
So when you were with Beto, when you said you're going to take our guns, that
I
means
did
what?
not say that. That's
You did.
not true. I did not say that.
It's a viral video.
It's a viral video like the other ones they're putting out there. They're simply a lie.
Your voice, you said that you're taking the guns.
Well,
he just
clarified it. Wait. Take your AR-14s.
Okay, this is not okay.
Hold on.
All right.
Hey, let's
Don't tell me
to
to do, pal. I want to go outside.
There's a lot of guys. wanted.
I'm not worried. Hold on. Give me a break, man. Don't be such a horse ass.
Don't be such a horse ass. You're working for me. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on here. This is definitely from the campaign because they wouldn't have never exposed him to people at this level as president. They don't put people like one of the rarest things in America that you'll ever see is a person actually speaking to a president that hasn't been scripted like in a town hall thing where they screen everybody who they allow to say something, and then even if you go off script, they'll probably take you off the broadcast, depending, obviously. So yeah, we should. I like that the guy's questioning him. I don't agree. I mean, I think there's a lot of misunderstandings and misinformation, and there's a lot of emotion wrapped up into the gun thing. If you watched last week's episode, I talked a good bit about that. And within unions too, this brings up a point that like you have to have solidarity in unions with people who aren't always going to agree on every issue with you about things. If the fundamental core is that together labor power has a right to negotiate with owners, with capitalists to demand better working conditions and a larger slice of their own value. And he's not wrong. Lots of dudes in unions are gun owners. I mean, owning guns is an American pastime because feeling safe by preparing for violence is an American pastime. And I'm not even faulting this guy. You know, like I said, I come from a family of gun owners. My dad gave me a gun for Christmas. He gave me a 12 gauge Remington pump action shotgun for Christmas when I was 13 years old. I was pretty sure it was a gun because it was about the size of a shotgun and it was heavy. Yeah, I've hunted. I've gone hunting. I'm not a hunter now, I wouldn't say. My hands would actually prevent me from being a hunter even if I wanted to, but yep. I guess credit. This is definitely from the campaign. I don't know why this went around right now.
Hey, there's a lot of
Hey. Look, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Are you able with a machine gun?
I said, are you able to own one? Under the law.
Machine guns are illegal.
That's right. So AR-15's illegal.
How is that a machine gun?
No, it's not.
Semi-automatic.
Yeah, do you need 100 rounds? Do you need 100 rounds?
In America from handguns than there are what you call assault rifles. Why are you advocating for assault rifles when people are dying by handguns?
No, come on.
Man, they're so threatened. The paranoia about having our guns removed is kind of the point I was making. Was it's like, if we're going to suggest that people rely less on guns to feel safe, we have to offer alternatives for them to then say, okay, fine, I'll feel safe. That's my thing. I have this idea called lily pad theory, which is that I don't need to get into it. I kind of want to make a whole video about it. I feel like it's like a concept that is very simple, but like the fewer options for feeling secure, for having, however that it's defined, the more priceless, the more protective you're going to become, the more paranoid you will become about protecting what little you have. Part of what workers, like it's the healthcare, like they prevent you from having options by limiting your access to human needs, so that you're desperate and then you become grateful and defensive about the limited options you have. So if you only have a couple of lily pads as options, eventually you end up with just the one below your feet, and you're totally trapped on that. And it's terrifying when you have nowhere to go. It's like a horror movie. The essence of a horror movie is isolation. All horror movies, especially these days, all horror movies have to start with holding up your phone, with just being like, "Oh shit, I'm out of power," or "Oh crap, I don't have a signal." Like every horror movie has to have that. I don't know. There must be some kind of jamming around, because a lot of problems can be solved by like calling for help or communicating. But so the concept of lily, and then you drown because there's water. The water represents. I mean, and ultimately, everybody's going to end up underwater because we all die, except for the billionaires who aren't going to die because they're going to invent some form of immortality for them to sustain, because they're so special. But yeah, I know I'm articulating this terribly, but the response then to the insecurity that comes with having only a few choices for safety, for options to what to do. And life is inherently about less options. As you get older, every single day that goes by, there's just fewer options for you in the world. Right? I don't think, yeah, never mind. I was going to say something about sororities. Okay. Yeah. All right. We're good. So the idea is, though, that if you provide more options, if you make it okay for someone to step away from their core security onto some other stable platform, a lily pad, right? If they have choices where you're not going to be sucked into the water or something underneath that's not going to come up and grab you. And then you have even more choices. You increase both your emotional safety, your emotional security, your ambient sense of stress, especially if it's predictable and stable. The instability of these societies too is partially what they get you with, because they'll fund Medicare for a little while, then they'll take it away. They'll fund, like, they're constantly changing rules. If we just baked in security, baked in the concept that, yeah, no matter what, you got lots of lily pads for you to step on, that if you need to move, if like a lot of people are trapped in marriages that they can't get away from. They're stuck in jobs that they're tethered to because the healthcare is attached to their job, which gives their boss more leverage over them. There's, like I said, there's domestic abusive situations. Just moving itself is incredibly onerous. Finding housing, your ability to get approved to afford a house. If I had to move out of this apartment, I wouldn't be able to. There's nowhere I could go. My credit's terrible. I'm very lucky, and but that itself is very stressful. The lack of options there. And if I save, my hope is to get out of LA and save up money, but this podcast has to really make some moves, or some things have to turn around in a big way for me to ever be able to get out, short of just like throwing everything I own away and just filling up my Prius and moving and just driving off somewhere. I suppose I could do that today if I wanted to. I wouldn't be able to throw all this stuff away in one day, but the point, I guess you're kind of getting it. I would like to make a book. It feels like a book project. I get to picture the cover. Lily pad theory, just like the idea, just tried to get the people under the idea that when society intentionally limits the number of lily pads available to you, you are trapped. And that is precisely so that your boss has more leverage over you as far as negotiating your wage. That's basically what it comes down to. And it reduces your political power, which is all just comes down to whether your boss gets to keep more political power, which generally means, do they get to pollute your land? Do they get to fuck up the future? Do they get to pay low wages? Do they get cheap labor in other places? Are you forced to compete with peasants and serfs and slaves in Malaysia and Indonesia and China, you know, and all these other nations where they go to other countries or Mexico or in other states? It's because they intentionally chop down the lily pads that should be there. A world where the socialist utopia I'm always pining for is one where we grow healthy, strong, stable, predictable options for people so that bosses don't have leverage over them. And yes, I don't even want a world with bosses. I want a world with democratically accountable leaders running organizations, you know, as would be like in the case of co-ops or other sort of publicly owned kind of things. You need leadership, though. You need organization. Any group more than ever try to plan something with 3 or 4 people, it gets really fucking confusing very quickly. So you have to have human groupings have to be coordinated. And I think most of us would be fine with like people with more expertise or people with more experience or people who are in leadership roles to live lives of a little bit better luxury. You know, I don't see an issue with that. The problem is when you're destroying the habitability of the planet and you're imposing these antiquated systems of government and power on everybody else, diminishing everybody else's life. We're missing out on so much great, wonderful music and art and science and productive, glorious napping, resting, just being chilled the fuck out. Humans are relaxation creatures. We are very, very well designed for work, unfortunately. Our bodies are very good at stamina. That's one of our strengths. Our brains, our problem-solving brains, our hands. There's nothing like the human hand in nature in terms of precision. You ever see a Spanish guitar player? Yeah, exactly. We have such our ability to learn and remember, but we also get trapped in these cultural kind of things that that are built on the foundation of our instincts to trust and our instincts to want to feel like we belong. It's complex. It's all very complex. But we're such, like, if you were to design an animal that you could then turn into just a labor machine, maybe call it a resource, you know, like how every fucking business has a thing they call human resources. You would design something like a human. If you need an animal to pull heavy things, an ox, right? Humans can also be tethered together to pull heavy things. But a human being is an incredibly well-designed creature for producing work for others. But our emotional and our evolutionary core is effort for ourselves and others, is for groups. Meaning, like, we could assign, I think the concept of work has to die and be replaced with the concept of community, of service towards the betterment of a community, with the full understanding that you also benefit, because there would be no bad job. There'd be shitty work, but there would be no bad job. I would take shitty work. The fucking woodworking job was just sitting in clouds of sawdust all day, sweating my ass off, breathing into a fucking dirty ass mask. I was like, and they didn't make everybody wear masks there. I was crazy. You know, it was up to you. It was a shit pay, no benefits. It cost me my hands, and I still took pride in what I did. I still had integrity to produce really beautiful stuff that I was doing for people who probably donate money to politicians to prevent people like me from having health care. It's like the whole concept of work is about sacrificing for someone else. And then we say, well, you don't like it, go start your own business and you can make it. No, that's not okay. I don't want to just make someone else sacrifice for me and say that I climbed out of it and then get to the individualism gives me the ability to tell the story that I did a great job when actually someone else is doing the fucking work. We get rid of bad jobs. There will always be shitty work, but we can get rid of bad jobs fully. There shouldn't be such a thing. But a world where that's the case is a world with a lot of lily pads, a world with a lot of options for people in terms of their health. Just doing healthcare in this country would be liberating for small businesses and for all kinds of other small localized businesses. The world I'm describing, the one I would like to see, it ain't going to happen, not in my lifetime, would be an engine for producing amazing regional businesses and regional differences too. We wouldn't allow corporations to get such dominance and such power. Because the whole goddamn thing is set up so that motherfuckers like Trump can have the most that they want, and then pump their, you know, their backyard filled with the corpses of their children's mothers. I'm just rambling. All right. Yeah, cool. Okay, well, that's fine. Okay, we're not going to do more than 2 hours. Say goodbye to Paul Rubens. We'll do that next time. Yeah. Maybe, you know, pickleball for everybody. Maybe that's the compromise we have to come up with. We all get to play pickleball. There she is. May she rest in a urine-soaked grave. I'm not saying I think she deserves the urine-soaked grave. This is the Republican guy. This is the arbiter. They claim the story, the hypocritical story that we are the good people. We are the upholders of American decency and all that bullshit. I don't think any of them really claim that, but this is their guy. You can tell if they were doing some urination, this looks like repeated urination. I can't stop looking at it. Like there's a strike, even in one right here. You're going to stand next to somebody. That's about two people standing next to each other having a whiz. Or maybe there's just a couple different places that they planted up. Yeah. The mother of his kids. Just, that's crazy. Somebody test that soil, okay? Let's find out how much ketchup is in that nitrogen-soaked acid soil. And maybe it's not Trump. That is plausible. Maybe it's just some staffer. You know, sometimes people do stuff like that too. Just feel like it, you know, have a whiz. He should charge. He should charge people to come over and pee on it. That would be a smart business opportunity. Okay? There's profits there sitting in that grave. There's got to be shit hidden in. I mean, I would bet that there is. Because how could he resist? You know? I don't know. What would have to happen for them to dig it up, though? Yeah, they would need evidence beyond. I mean, you can't just go pulling up graves without a complete freak out from those. Yeah. All right. Okay. We're starting to say the same shit. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Patreon.com/winners and losers. We're building. It's getting better. I'm still going to be inconsistent. I just can't pull it together because the fucking ADHD and the goddamn autism and all that fucking stuff. I hit these brain. But I am actually grateful to get this little gig done soon, so I can turn my attention to this and that other project too that I've been talking about a little bit. And send in the questions. If you want me to answer any stupid questions, I will. I like answering dumb questions, so it just gives me something to react to. It's fun. All right. Okay. I'm definitely not going to go play Baldur's Gate 3. I do want to play that game eventually, but not until other things are in place. Gonna play some Rocket League, though. That's a nice little break. Okay, bye. See you later. Bye.